Peace and blessings, family. This is your boy Youre. It's Monday, June 26, 2017. How is everybody doing? That's right. We're about to start a brand new week. I hope your weekend was well. I know that some of you took the time to reflect. Some of you had some validations this weekend, and some finally had clarity. I want to put this PSA out for somebody because I know that this is going to be the validation that you've been looking for quite a long time because you've been, I don't want to say stuck, but you know that you deserve better. And this is your message. A beautiful sunny day here in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And it's so sunny. I'm trying to get this glare. Give me 1 second. Let me see if let me play with this real quick. Yeah. All right. Is that better? I hope so. Okay, well, let me move that around. Hope y'all can hear me because I know this is going to reach the intended heart, intended mind, the intended time. Because, see, the life is precious. I'm going to keep echoing it until it cracks that wall known as fear, ego, denial that you've been trying to keep built. Oh, yeah, that's coming down. Because it has to. It has to because it's been holding you back far too long. Yes, it has. And with that being said, let me throw this out right now because I know that there are some people that are being misled and they're basing their behaviors or their responses off of what they interpreted, what they have seen, and what was justified as love. Let me tell you something, family, right off the bat. Number one, love does not hurt. Love, love, the precious word, illustrating the one sacred act that God bestowed on man. He created you, are priceless. There will never be another you. I'm talking to you. So why are you doing time in your mind? Because what you think is love really is nothing but torment and control. Let me explain something to you. See, love is also a descriptive word to explain growth. Are you grown or are you feeling stagnant? Is the people in your life, the people that have access to you, Are they living the example of what love is? Because if you're waking up every morning like you gotta pull teeth just to get people to comply, right there, compliance, that means you are subjecting yourself to a condition that should be natural. Why are you in your head? First of all, pump your brakes. You ain't crazy. You are afraid. There is something that was left in the back, maybe in your past, that is demanding its attention now. Maybe that is the reason why there is so much uneasiness. Maybe that is the reason why there is so much impulsiveness about amongst your friends. Yes, it used to be a novelty in the beginning because they would be so carefree. Some would act like they just don't give up. But the truth of the matter is, they lacked love. Love does not hurt. And I know that may be kind of contrary because I know that a great deal of you were raised in an environment that was dysfunctional and you had to adapt. You had to make a way. You had to literally duck the problem. But what about the solution? Do you think the fact that if you choose to ignore, that you choose to put a barrier, how many of y'all do that? You bury your pain. You may use other avenues to escape. You know, escapism. Why you think there's so many of our babies out there today losing their minds, choosing to go ahead and go to cloud nine, not knowing that that's only temporary to bring them hard, fast, quick, in a hurry back to reality because your problem is waiting on you. So that means you're going to have a little fortitude. That means you're going to have to go within. That means you're going to have to allow yourself to be vulnerable to you. Let me spin it for you so it resonates. Because I know some of y'all don't have the courage to admit to yourself that all you want to do is feel emotionally safe. All you want to do is get to that point where that significant other, the one, enters your life and takes the pain away. But let me explain something to you. You know that word I always echo called intimacy? Into me I see. See, until you have a relationship with yourself, that means you can't find it in a store. That means you can't find it in doing a secret. That means you cannot find it doing things that will put you in emotional or physical harm. How about your mortality? See, until you allow yourself or give yourself permission to love yourself more, it is about cause and effect, family. Until you love yourself more, no one's going to be able to love you. Because, see, we set the example of what's required. That's why I always echo to each and every one of you. When's the last time you used that beautiful word called no? Because no does not mean forever. It means under review. So if this is something that you don't need, why accept it? You realize how many people just go with the flow, but end up spending more effort and energy making the corrections? That's no different than being on a highway thinking you know where you're going, but you really need a map, only to turn around and burn more effort, time, and gas to recreate the direction needed. More effort. Who do you blame? You can't blame your environment. You have to own it. Love does not hurt. But see, society has convinced man that you don't need love, you need intimidation. You take what you need instead of earning what is rightfully given. And that is why we see what we see play out in a town near you, in a city near you, in a state near you every day. You get your daily dosage of disappointment on the news. I would like to be optimistic to think one day that I will be able to turn on the news and say, today was a good day. Nothing's going on. Everybody's good. But I can still pray for that day to come. Now let's flip it. Millennials, I am concerned about you. You are what we call speedballing through your life. You are doing things before you should even be able to facilitate what it is, which undermines not only the preparation, but it also undermines the foundation. Remember when I used the example about life, and I said life can be looked at like a chessboard. And when you're young, and until you grow into yourself, you will play, you will take the position of every piece on that board. That board represents your life. Until you master that board, you really cannot call yourself king or queen of your domain. But there's plenty of people that will look for a cheat code. There'll be plenty of people that will scream a justification. There'll be many of people out there that will choose their denial over their peace of mind. And we're wondering why people seem like they're losing their everlasting mind every day. I looked on the news this morning and there was a person on our airlines, you'll see it today, decided that they wanted to get off their flight in midair and tried to open the emergency hatch. Do you realize how disturbed that was? But you realize how reckless that was too? Because this person, no matter what this person was going through, they didn't have the common decency or regard of their environment. Now, me working in aviation, I deal with airplanes every day. That emergency door is just as important as that seatbelt. So now we're talking pressurization. But I can metaphorically use that because maybe that was what was going on in that individual's mind. The pressure got so strong that they wanted to let it out. Love don't hurt, family. Love does not hurt. And since we want to talk about being awoke, for those people who are truly awake, they know this. They understand that their purpose is what was defined by their lessons, and each individual that came in their life. How about those who are going to come behind you? So you don't have room to be selfish. You should be preparing. In other words, if you know that you are a diamond, why are you doing everything to darken your luster? Why are you doing it? Because no one gets a pass off of self-exploitation. Maybe that's the reason why there's so many people running ahead of the line to be a part of the minstrel show. Oh, yes, that's all you're seeing right now, just for change. But the change that should be required has always been there. You see it every day when you wake up and walk into your bathroom and you see that blessed person looking back, that little boy, that beautiful little boy, that precious little girl. They look back at you. Are you giving yourself a voice? And if you are, why aren't you listening? Because that is the only way that you're going to break those shackles that enslave your emotions. Now, I'm going to try to watch my words, but I have to reach that person at the level that they're on. So I'm going to say some things because that's just where they at. And I got to get you where you need to be. Number one, love is not based off a physical act of sexual encounter. It is not. The justification of the act should be what matches the emotional connection that is symbolically between the two. That's why I tell you, millennials, please take the stopwatch off your life. Because society wants you to grow old before your time for two reasons. Number one, to manipulate your financial gain, because they love making consumers out of you. And number two, to get that mind, your perceptions. That's where slavery really is. You just don't see it, but it's there. And number three is you may not realize this, but history is being hijacked before you right now. You have a lot of people that want to rewrite history right before you, and they hope that you don't see it. The reason for that is they're trying to not make the world in the image that God created it, but the image of what Lucifer wanted. Start with truth, but if you look out your door, look at the environment, what's going on. Is this not anarchy? Is this not chaotic? There are actually multitudes of people that strategically go out just to undermine your community, to wreak havoc, to take away from your infrastructure, all to laugh at their antics and go back into their community that will never be touched. But why do we not challenge that? And then the other, we have those in our communities that have no regards for you because they continue to poison it. If it is not by by pharmaceutical means, which we all know that this stuff is not being um, made here, but it's being distributed. Why don't we say that? Because I know, we want to live by the creed of no snitching. Well, why do you think you're in pain? Because you won't tell yourself what you need. You want to stay loyal to your pain when you should stay strong and be loyal to you. Here's something that I found uh, really troubling last week. Did you know that the latest domestic violence survey, it is at the top with the LGBT community? Did you know that? And the main people that are causing these crimes, unfortunately, Queen, is you. It's you. So when I see this, it only validates what I've always known. I see a broken little girl running, looking for someone to love them, only being misled. That's what it is. If you sit down and you ask somebody that has that position, I guarantee you they're going to tell you about some pain they went through. They're going to tell you. It'll come out eventually after you get past all the BS, when you get past all the ego, when you move past the excuses, and you're able to see that little boy or little girl, if they're willing, if you want to keep it real, let's do it. You're gonna see a broken little girl or a broken little boy, and a lot of times it stems from what they were exposed to or lack thereof. And what you're witnessing in their adulthood is really nothing but rebellion. Rebellion against themselves. How about their heart? That's why you hear the terminology or the phrase, I'll get you before you get me. But that's the creed of the opportunist, because the opportunist is quick. They are stealthy. They do not acknowledge what they do. And they're quick to pull the plug when they feel that they're being or about to be exposed. Why? Because the abuser at one time was the abused. Let me throw this out there for somebody. Your solution to your problem cannot and will not be found in the arms of a stranger. Let me make that clear. I know you might be saying, well, Joe, I'm a sexual person. That's who I am. Well, here's the truth on that one. Most people that are promiscuous are really promiscuous because what they want is to feel nurtured. Who am I talking to? So maybe that's the reason why when you hear your girlfriend say, there ain't no good men out there, you're damn right there ain't no good men out there because you can't see them with the glasses that you have on. But they're there. We're there. We walk amongst you and we take note. But anybody that cares about their legacy has to protect their purpose. And they will keep their direction because it's their will through his will. And his will shall be done. So You may be saying, well, Gerald, I hear all that, but the fact of the matter is I'm married. I got children. But the truth of the matter is I don't love him. I'm just doing time in my mind until they grow up. And then I'll do me. But the truth of the matter is, as long as you as long as you choose to have that position, you're the one that's going to pay because you are the one that is being done. You might as well be in emotional solitude. You are doing time in your mind. You know why? Because you refuse to love you. Why do you think social media is so big, family? 50% of the people that are on social media use that as a means of escapism from their lives. That is a reason why they pop up out of the blue. I ain't talked to you in 10 years. Why? Because whatever's going on in their life, they need to escape. And they don't mind losing time with yours. You got to own it. You got to own it. If you love yourself, you'll own it. Take note. But then there's a small group that uh, have been convinced from a long time ago. You may have been raised in a family structure where your parents, or usually a lot of times it's uh, a single parent setting where mama was hands on. She was hands on. But the problem is, mama had issues with communicational skills. She couldn't express herself like she needed to because she was too emotional. So she let her actions do the talking. And you had to navigate through that. And it kind of made you numb. You hear people say it toughened you up, but them scars are still there, ain't they? I got a feeling somebody right now looking at your arm, ain't you? You're looking at your thigh. You remember that burn. You remember that time where all you needed was someone to pick you up and hug you and say, it's going to be okay. Give you a kiss on the side of the cheek, just a helping hand. You longed for that. You dreamed about that, but it wasn't there. And all that did was build resentment. And that resentment became toxic and it made you start to become numb. You started to become frozen, but you thought, well, my girlfriends are like that. My stick man's like that. We have a bond because we both went through the same type of upbringing. So I guess it was normal. It wasn't. But people can only go off of how they are taught. How do you think generational curses exist, family? It's knowledge that has not been passed down, that has been tainted. Imagine what life would be like if it was the opposite. You had families that supported you, gave you correction, but with love. Oh, I'm not saying whoop that ass, not whoop. Some of y'all need your butt kicked now. Some of y'all need that wake up call because you don't see the dead end that's down the road waiting on you. Let's make this clear. You wasn't guaranteed to wake up today, but you were guaranteed to do so because you're hearing me. This is a brand new week, family. We are in the midst of summer. And you know what would be a tragedy if you don't seize it? This is the summer that you are going to be able to tap into you. if you stop playing. Well, I hear that, but he won't let me do. Is he your daddy? Is he your dad? You married to him, but you know that ain't no marriage. You know it ain't. I'm gonna tell you how it was. It was a situation built off of lust, and you basically can't have the same mindset. And you said, "Well, you know what? I got my baggage, you got your baggage, and we're gonna ride and die together." Well, that was the only thing that was true. Because as long as you keep going down that path, you're both gonna cut your lives short. And you know who loves that? The devil. Because as long as you keep going down the path you're going, you keep getting further and further from where you need to be. Why you think you angry? You still got dreams and aspirations you ain't even touched. How about them beautiful natural talents? I'll do one of this. I'll do one. I'll do one like I gotta reach you at the lowest level. I gotta reach you at the lowest level. Why you got one father? You may have a dad, which is a blessing, but you may be married, and he tells you what to do, how to do it, and you're like, all right, and you think, well, I need that structure because I was a little wild. You know why most people are wild? You know why they do that? Because they're trying to figure out who they are. Well, let me let you know something. You'll never figure out who you are between your legs. You want to know who you are? You got to open that heart up. You got to open that heart. Because guess what? As long as you keep it closed, there are going to be plenty of people that are going to come into your life to break it. I know somebody saying, well, I'm already broke, Gerald. Ain't no love here. That's why you're crying at night. That's why you drink to forget. The worst thing that you can do, family, is choose to put chemicals in your body that are going to have an effect down the road. You do know the medical community needs patience, right? Huh? Just forget about that. Keep doing what you're doing. You don't want to be that person that has to wear an oxygen mask, or that person that has to get dialysis, or got to get a weekly IV just to keep your immune system popping. Huh? I'm saying this because I love you. I know who I am. And you know who I am too because you're listening. See, I'm one of the good ones, family. I am a spiritual man. I place God first in all I do. But I will be wrong or be remiss not to tell you what you need because your friends ain't your friends. That's why you can never count on them, but they there when they need something, huh? That's not your friends. What did I tell y'all a couple weeks ago? Take that tool called a cell phone and go through all those people that you have met and be honest. Ask yourself, can that person help me grow? I'm not saying hold your hand because they should be doing the same thing too. They should be, if anything, inspire. They should inspire you because you both are like-minded. You can turn around and let society say opposites attract if you want to, but that is nothing but a ruse, family. We are what we attract. So if you are in a season where all that you attracted was men that all they do is lay on top of you, give you grief, and try to break your body, And let's flip it for the guys. All you attract is the same caliber little girl, and she's looking at you as daddy, but she doesn't have the traits to be called wife. You got to own that. So you ready to take the pain away or what? Because until you do, you're playing yourself. They ain't got to do nothing. Maybe that's the reason why they come around so much, because they know that you don't see it yet. If you understand what I'm saying, give me a thumbs up. If you ain't feeling what I'm saying, thumbs down. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but everybody has their own walk. Let me explain something to you. If you got a little time today, I always reference this every blue moon. I want you to go into the search engine right up here, and I want you to type in Tyrese Gibson, the actor, the singer, the actor, Fashion Fear. I want you to pull up his song called Walk. Listen to the words, because that should be you. Now, here's a trade off, because I know some of y'all are more natural geniuses, and a lot of you have natural gifts and talents that the world is awaiting for, positive, because we already have examples of what not to do. And the sad thing about it is there are those that are making money off of what you're not doing. That's why it's really hypocritical to just complain about stuff when you're not doing anything, because you reap what you sow. And speaking of sowing, there's going to be somebody, I know you're feeling this. It's time. You ready to go ahead and get that body right, huh? Mm-hmm. You ready to get that mind? You ready to get your mind? You do know you put the energy into your body, it actually stimulates your mind. It's a good stress reliever. But guess what? Some of your greatest clarity and insight will come from that, because you are working on that temple. And yes, here's a trade-off on that. You're not going to see those people. They're going to fall off the earth. Don't get scared. Be grateful, because it's about your preparation now. Oh, yeah, you're going to see. And the more that you invest in yourself, the more that you allow yourself to heal. Yeah, heal. What's the point of having all that emotional baggage on you? You still mad because of what happened in your childhood. You know why that played out? Because the devil knew who you were going to become. And he was trying to do everything he could to break your mind, body, and spirit so that you would not continue on. The strong ones endure. I can't convey this any stronger than I've tried. Don't worry about who is in your circle. Many of them are going to try, but the blessed ones will be. Because love don't hurt. So while you see people, because you see this all the time, is always that couple. She all up in his face. She all. I never did understand this. If you're in an environment, because it's not a relationship, but why would you put yourself in harm's way? Like, I'm gonna show you how easily manipulated society was. Remember when Jasmine Sullivan made that song? I broke the windows in your car. That was a pandemic. That was like an anthem. But was the dumbest thing that you could put out. No disrespect to her as an artist, but that was very reckless and irresponsible. And I'm gonna tell you why I said that. Why would you turn around? Number one, put your life at risk, your finances at risk, and your freedom at risk because someone's acting up. Because of the fact of the matter, you're so emotional, you want to use that as a physical reminder of how you feel instead of just expressing yourself. You know, the best expression you could ever do is called silence. It's called removing yourself from the environment. But you still see these little girls do it. And they learn that from whoever the most influential woman was in their development. Because nobody's born to be destructive. You're taught that. Just like no one's born to be a racist, you are taught that through your environment, what you're exposed to. So while she's out there punching tires, she's really punching at her freedom. All the while, not knowing you are just giving your time, your money, and your freedom to someone that does not see your worth. You just gave them a free upgrade. Instead of protecting your dignity. But then you got some people say, well, you know, Drew, I like women that act crazy. You know, that just, you know, the sex is great. Okay. So then that means you demented too. It's a like-minded family. It's a like-minded. You may be in the and this I'm gonna tell somebody this, and they ain't gonna like it. The reason you're you're going through some cheating, ain't you? Hmm? You're frustrated because you don't understand why he's not faithful to you. And you're doing everything under the sun to keep him faithful. Two things are playing out for that. Number one, this is a lesson for you. You were that person. You were doing the same thing without accountability. Now, the lesson is returned for you to understand how it feels, the opportunity to gain that wisdom. And a lot of times, insight comes through disappointment. But for every disappointment, it sets an opportunity for a breakthrough. That's your wisdom. Just like I mentioned this almost 5 years ago. I warned y'all, queens, stop playing with your body. Stop. Stop doing it. It's your body. You don't like it. You don't like how it is. Invest in it. You can do it naturally. It took time to put that weight on. Take time to get it off. That's what muscle memory means. But you can't do nothing until you get that heart right. Sheila ain't gonna tell you that. You think because of the fact that you done swore off men, I ain't gonna deal with no man no more because every time I deal with another man, I always get hurt. But guess what? What you don't know, Sheila's gonna do worse than what Tommy did because you're not loving you. And you know what's gonna happen? Until you get tired, because you're gonna go through some stuff. Because you're gonna leave Sheila to be with Sarah, and Sarah is gonna do something, and then you're gonna run to Michelle, and Michelle is just gonna be straight up reckless. And guess what's gonna happen? They're gonna eventually break you down. And you know what's gonna happen? You're gonna come on back home. You're gonna come back home. Everything comes full circle, just like your life. Everything. You start off as a baby, and if you're blessed, you become an elder. And what happens? You have childlike functions, huh? You notice the older they get, the more feeble they are. They're kind of like a little baby, don't you? Everything comes full circle. Love does not hurt. You may be thinking, well, Gerald, I like no strings. I like calling shots. But you ain't calling shots. You're not, you're being manipulated. You don't even know it. And I'm going to show you how the manipulation takes place. Because as long as you want to play Miss Independent, and let me explain something to you. There's no such thing as being an independent woman. Oh, yes, I am. I got to listen. There's no such thing as an independent person. Independent, that means I without dependence. That means you don't need anything. Well, guess what? You got a farm? Are you self sufficient? That means because if you are, then you are the example. But this is a interdependent society. That means you depend on somebody for something. You making your own electricity, getting your own water. You ain't independent. So that's a misuse of the definition. Excuse me. Now, this summer is going to be very special to each and every one of you when you decide to make it so. Some of y'all going to finally have to stand on your feet and declare now is the time and claim yourself back. That means some of y'all may be in what you think is relationships, you're going to have to end them. And some who are not in relationships, you're going to have to, you're going to make the decision to stop the behavior that is destructive. Well, Joe, I like going out getting high, getting my back swole up. I like that, and I can start my week. That's all I know, but guess what? You playing with your organs. Because guess what? There's a high ratio of women that are waking up sterile. Let's not even talk about sexually transmitted diseases. And no, yes, let's don't get it twisted. Those are sexual transmitted diseases out there that make herpes look like the common cold. Because when you get them, you can worry about the stopwatch. It automatically goes after your life. I ain't talking about AIDS either. Because it's microbiotic. And it basically undermines your immune system, which affects your DNA. It kills you from within. And unfortunately, little Larry that don't know to think with his head, because he think he's carrying a big bat, but really the truth of the matter is his body has not grown to the proper proportions. And he's probably like a buck 65, like a surfboard, so he looks a certain way. I'm talking to somebody. No. Wait till you get about 25 more years on to, and watch yourself. Your body will match up everything. Everything balances out. But here's the thing about it, King. I'm talking to you. As long as you keep sticking your dipstick in people, you do know that you're also messing with your. Mm-hmm. You can wake up sterile too. And guess what? I know a lot of y'all, no matter what, want to be a parent one day. You do, don't you? You dream about it. You think if I have a child, yo, I'm good. I don't need him. I don't need him. I just need the baby. Me and the baby. Let me show you how society thinks about you too, Queen, while I'm at it. You might not realize this, but uh, you do understand the last 4 years, they've been running an agenda to convince you why you don't need to be a man. You need to be a man. And you see it in the commercials too. Notice how you see more single moms with the children. Where's daddy at? Where's daddy? Hmm? See little boys out there. Where's daddy? Where is he? Huh? Where's daddy? Because them little boys gonna need a father. They're gonna need a male presence. And you wonder why Johnny has a lot of feminine ways. Because if Johnny only has his mom, his sisters, his aunties around him, naturally he's going to take on what is emulated. That's normal. It's no different than if Sarah lives with her dad and she got a bunch of brothers and dad loves them all the same. You think she's not going to kind of come off tomboyish? That's what she's exposed to. But society don't want to tell you that. Society want to convince you gay. You ain't gay. But here's the funny thing. I'm because at the end of the day, you got to lay your head where you lay it. I think it's kind of funny though that why is it that the LGBT, I call them the alphabet people, their whole symbolization is a rainbow, which is diversity. Everybody has one, right? Term gay means what? Joy, love, happiness, joy. But there's so much anger, so much turmoil, so much so much deception in their community. It contradicts what they represent themselves as. Just look, take note. And we can say, well, that's just passion. They're passionate people. No, they're all broken. That's why you see them fighting all the time. So you can't turn around and I get it. That, and then you got the feminists. They angry. They so angry. But if you just take the time to show compassion to ask one, why are you angry? And after you shed the emotions, you break it down, and you get past the allegory and you get to them, you see what they're really angry about. It's a disservice not to love your family. And it shouldn't be that way. Because love doesn't hurt. But that's okay though, because God gave you free will. And you're gonna go ahead and do whatever you want. You're gonna do whatever you want. You hey, knock yourself out. But when the pain comes, when it comes, just remember this conversation. And just remember, you deserve better because love don't hurt. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, It helps me discern mine. Don't let them shut down your dreams. Grab your feet and claim it back. Be blessed.